Hello, math students, and welcome back to our second lesson, and it is from Module 1, Ratios and Proportional Relationships, and the lesson is called Proportional Relationships. What we are going to do today is we are going to learn how quantities are proportional to each other. So what does the constant do to the quantity to make it proportional? Okay, and so the way that we're going to do this is we're going to look at it from a task. So the task says 4 kids bought some frozen yogurt. They had to pay the cost per ounce. The table shows their cost per ounce. So our rate, and I would like all of you to write this down, our rate for this task is that we're trying to find cost per ounce. Okay, so money per ounce, okay? Because remember, we're buying frozen yogurt. So it says the cost, $5 is how much it costs for 12.5 ounces, $4 for 10 ounces, $3.20 for 8 ounces, and $2 for 5 ounces, okay? So this is what we're doing. We've got 4 different kids. One kid spent $5, another kid spent $4, another kid spent $3.20, and another kid spent $2. And when they did that, the sizes of the cups were different. So on this one, we had a big cup. In this one, we had a smaller cup. On this one, we had an even smaller cup. And this one, we had a tiny cup because 5 ounces is very small. Okay? So now it says, does each kid pay the same cost per ounce? So we have to figure out, essentially, the unit rate for this one. That's what we're looking for. So remember, the unit rate means cost per ounce, but what we want to find is how much does 1 ounce cost. So we're trying to find the unit rate. So we can do that by taking what we know and finding what it would be per 1. Okay? So doing some math over here, we would go 5 for 12.5. And we need to get down to 1. So the question that you ask yourself is, how do you go from 12.5 to 1? Well, you take divide by 12.5, right? What you do to one side, you have to do to the other, so we're going to divide by 12.5. So 12.5 divided by 12.5 gives me 1, yep. And then 5 divided by 12.5, so remember, it's 5 divided, so 5 goes in the house. And then we have 12.5. And we have to multiply by 10, and now we're going to divide. So the question is, how many times does 125 go into 50? 0 times. It can't do that. How many times can 125 go into 500? I don't know. Let's do some math. So 125, let's try 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. Regroup the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Ah, we found it. So how many times can 125 go into 500? 4 times. So the cost per ounce for this one is 40 cents because 0.4 is 4/10, which if you have 4 dimes, that's 40 cents. So this one is 40 cents per 1. Okay, now let's try this one. You have $4 gives you 10 ounces, so we want to know how much would 1 be. So how do you get from 10 to 1? Divide by 10. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we're doing 4 divided by 10. So we put a decimal point. 4 goes into 10 0 times. 10 goes into 40 4 times. Aha! So this one costs 40 cents. Okay, now we have to do the next one. So we have $3.20 for 8 ounces. How do we get to 1? So we divide by 8. So we're going to divide this by 8. So $3.20 divided by 8. 8 goes into 3 0 times. 8 goes into 32 4 times. 32 with a 0, so that gives me 40 cents. So this one is 40 cents also. Okay, last one. We have $2 for 5 ounces, and we're trying to get to 1. So this one, I need to write it in, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, and now we're doing this one. So how do you get from 5 to 1? Divide by 5, divide by 5, so 2 divided by 5. 5 goes into 2 0 times, but 5 goes into 20 4 times. So this one is 0.4 also. So 40 cents per ounce. So it says, does each kid pay the same cost per ounce? And the answer is, everybody, what is the answer? The answer is yes, they do. They pay 40 cents. Okay? So if my yogurt weighs 15 ounces, how much will I pay? Oh, okay. So now we have to go backwards. So we're doing cost per ounce. We know that 1 ounce costs 40 cents. So now, how do we get to 15? So you ask yourself, how do I get from 1 to 15? Well, to get from 1 to 15, you multiply by 15. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm going to take 40 cents times 15, 0, 20, placeholder, 0, 4, and then you add those together, and I ran out of room, so 0, 0, 6. And then 2 places on the decimal, so it cost $6 for 15 ounces. And we just figured out how much it would cost for 15 ounces. Okay? So we're doing a lot of quick math, but it's not hard math because we just know how to use the unit rate. Since each child paid 40 cents per ounce, mathematicians say that the yogurt buying task is a proportional relationship. The reason why it's proportional is because every child paid 40 cents per ounce. So what you're looking for is if they all pay the same amount, then you know it's proportional. So same amount for each equals proportional. Okay? And we have a name for the same amount. The same amount is called a constant. So a proportional relationship means that any quantity multiplied by the same constant amount will be proportional. So we have any amount, any quantity, times the same thing equals a proportional quantity. Okay? So if we don't know what an amount is, sometimes we use variables. So we chose the variable x, so that means any amount, and then the m is the same amount for everything, same amount, and then the y gives you the answer of the change. So basically you're taking an item, multiplying it by the same amount as everything, multiplying by the same amount, and you get the answer. And the answer is the y. Okay, so an item is your x, the same amount is the m, and the answer is the y. Okay, and so that's how we come up with the equation. X times the same amount gives you y. Y is the same as the same amount times x. Okay, and that's how we come up with that. This equation right here is very important. You need to remember it. Okay, so again, the x is the amount you start with, m is the constant, that's the same amount multiplied by everything, and y is the amount you end with. Okay, so we're going to try it. We're going to try using that information that we just learned. So it says calories burned while jumping rope. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're trying to figure out if this is going to be proportional. So we have to figure it out. So if we start at 0, we have 0 minutes, 0 calories are burned. If we go for 1 minute, then we've burned 11 calories. Well, what happens if we go for 2 minutes? Well, if we go for 2 minutes, in 1 minute's time we did 11, so in another minute's time we did 11 again, so what do you get? You get 22. Do you see how we did that? What if you did it for 3 minutes? So in 1 minute it was 11, in another minute it was another 11, in another minute it was another 11, so we end up with 33. Okay, and then we have 4, what would it be? 44, you are correct. 5, what would it be? 55. 6, what would it be? 66. 7, what would it be? 77. 8, what would it be? 88. Okay, so that's how we figured out in the time that it takes the calories that are burned. So the question is the number of calories burned proportion to time? Well, how did it increase each time? So up here, it increased by 1, and down here, it increased by 11. So what is the answer? Every time, what did we increase it by? 11. So the answer is yes. And how do we know? The constant amount was 11 each time. So to get from 0 to 11, you added 11. From 11 to 22, you added 11. From 22 to 23, you added 11. From 33 to 44, you added 11. From 44 to 55, you added 11. You added 11, added 11. Okay, and so that's how we figured out that each time you increase it, it increases by 11. So how many calories were burned in 3 minutes? 33, according to our chart. How many in 5 minutes? 55. How much time was needed to burn 88 calories? How much time did we need? 8 minutes. So it is a proportional relationship. Okay? Hopefully you guys are starting to see the patterns in this. Okay? And that, my dears, is all that we have. I don't know why I had 2 copies of that. I'm sorry. And so we figured out how to find the proportional relationships. All right, so now let's go back to our goal. Today, we are going to learn how quantities are proportional to each other. Remember, they are proportional if they change by the same amount each time. So it was 40 cents per 1 ounce, and it was 11 calories per 1 minute. Okay? And so we were able to find that. The question that you had to ask is, what does the constant do to the quantity to make it proportional? The constant is the amount that happens to the change every time. So every time the value of x gets larger, you multiply it by your constant amount, and you get the new answer. So we took 12 and a half, and we multiplied it by 40, we got $5. We took 10 and multiplied it by 40 and got $4. We took 8 and multiplied it by 40 and got $3.20. We took 5 and we multiplied it by 40 and we got $2. So every time we were multiplying it by 40. Every time here, we were multiplying it by 40. So 1 times 11 is 11, 2 times 11 is 22, 3 times 11 is 33, 4 times 11 is 44, 5 times 11 is 55, 6 times 11 is 66, 7 times 11 is 77, and 8 times 11 is 88. So the constant for this one was 11. The constant for this one was 40 cents. Okay? And that's all I have for you in this lesson, kiddos. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!